What a great occasion, isn't? Little shy, but it looks like the galaxy of shining stars is emerging from the earth inside this hall. Each one of you is a shining star. My dear children, respected brother and Chancellor Shiv Nadar ji, Vice Chancellor Ananya ji, Pro-Chancellor, my young friend Shikhar ji, Behan Kiran ji, Roshni ji, all the trustees, faculties, parents of children, and sisters and brothers. Many of you must be thinking that I am going to deliver a heavy, academic, preachy lecture today. This is not going to happen. You have enough lectures, a lot of academic lectures. Because today is your day. It's not my day. Today is the day of joy, celebration. Today is the day of having evening party. Many of you must be planning some party for this evening after holding this degree in your hand. कुछ लोग सत्यनारायण की कथा भी करते हैं, रामायण का पाठ भी करते हैं. So it's a combination of all these elements. But there's another element that many of the parents must be waiting that once their son or daughter gets a degree, only then we can marry her. So many of you must be waiting for this moment. Frankly speaking, I'm really very impressed while coming here, learning more about Shiv Nadar University. I have a quick tour. That tour was inside the car, but I was explained this is one of the best research center. This is one of the richest libraries. This is football playground, and this is badminton court. And these are some buildings under construction, including some villas. So this time I'm not going to stay in your villa, but once your new villa will come up, I promise that one day I will stay there. We have also seen from the distance the biodiversity park. Everybody in the university who met me is very, very proud of it, biodiversity park. So there's a biodiversity park outside, and there is a human diversity park inside. Diversity is beauty. Different cultures, religions, languages, faiths, ideologies, they make our country very rich and very beautiful. So unity has the strength and diversity brings the beauty. That's why I said that you are looking so beautiful today in your robes, isn't? खुश नहीं है ना? कौन कौन खुश है? हाथ ऊपर करो. Don't be shy, don't be shy. The PhD students have become quite serious. Those who are going to have PhD, I think you are going to get the PhD degrees. Is it? Yeah. So PhD makes the people very serious. And that is the reason I have never done my PhD. Many universities in India and outside conferred honorary PhDs, but I did not do PhD to become so serious as all these PhD persons. But young people with the graduation are quite excited. Huh? So today, as I said, I am not going to deliver a lecture as such, but I would like to share a few stories of my own learning. 3 stories, not many. The first one is not related directly to me, but it comes from Upanishads, a great text of wisdom, the volume of wisdom. There was a very learned saint living in jungle. So king decided to send his son, prince, to go and spend time with him and learn life. So Rajkumar, the prince, came with all the paraphernalia, elephants and all kind of things, chariots, and reached to that small hut, the little ashram of that saint, and knocked on the door. So somebody asked from inside, "Who are you?" He said, "Don't you know I am the prince of this estate? Why don't you open the door? I'm waiting for quite some time." Then the door did not open, was not opened. So after a while, prince became more anxious and rather angry. He said that, I told that I am the prince. Door was not opened. The man did not open the door from inside. Prince went back, complained to his father. Father said, "No, you have to go again." So he had to go again. And he was thinking, what else could be done? So he left behind all the elephants and chariot and everything and knocked the door. So the Guru asked from inside, "Who are you?" The young man said, "I don't know who am I. If I knew it before, I need not to come and knock on your door. I came here to know myself." He was admitted in the Gurukul. And when he left, somebody asked, "Who are you? You have completed your education and your convocation is done, Dikshant ho gaya. Who are you?" He said in Sanskrit, "Soham. I am the one who you are. I am the one who they are. I am the one who everyone is, because I am the fire, I am the light." He came as a prince with that kind of mental baggage, but he went back from there. He learned that I am the fire and I am going to spread, I am going to enlighten the world with the knowledge, the wisdom, and the learning I have had. Today is an important day. You are born one day. Some of your parents are sitting here, but as they call, somewhere I have read that when you are graduated, this is your second birth. And that's why This is the day of gratitude. In an hour or so, you are going to hold degrees in your hands. But these degrees are not simply the gateway or a kind of confirmation to get the jobs, employment. Of course, they are. But these degrees are more than that. These are the dreams and aspirations of your parents and grandparents and your siblings and your friends. These are the scripts, the words on your degrees, which are expression and manifestation of hard work of your family, the great contribution this university had made and this nation has made, as well as these degrees are also coming with a sense of deeper responsibility other than the gratitude. Once you get the big degree, some people may feel that, okay, I have got one degree, but the entire life is learning. You can keep on learning. When you stop learning, then you die. Mentally, spiritually. But I don't want to get into that in detail. I tell you a story. One day, I have rescued a group of children from stone quarries, and there was a tiny little girl, 8 years old. His grandparents were born and grew up in Silivri, and then her father, mother were born there and they were married there, forcibly. And the girl was born and grew up. So I was keeping all these children in my big car, and I was driving myself because it is always risky, very dangerous. I have lost 2 of my colleagues, and one was shot dead and one was beaten to death. So when I was driving fast, I thought that let me engage these children in some conversation to ease them, to console them. I have offered them the bunch of bananas which are lying in the back of the car. When they took bananas to eat, I insisted to eat, I was so shocked to see that many of them were eating bananas without peeling them. And they were talking among themselves that what kind of potato it is, what kind of onion it is. They have never seen banana before. And after a while, this girl put her head on my shoulder and asked, with some sort of authority and anger, in her language, that was a kind of mix of Haryanvi and Rajasthani, "Kyun re? Tu pehle kyun nahi aayo? Oh man, why didn't you come earlier?" And she asked me, why didn't you come earlier? That was not the question to me. That was the question to everyone who believes in humanity and freedom of human beings and dignity. Why didn't you come earlier, she asked. But she was so bright, we brought her and others to our ashram. Sumedhaji runs that ashram. She spent few years there. But when she was going, her name was Devli. When Devli was leaving ashram like you are leaving this ashram today, she said that I feel that I am flying with wings. I have got the wings of knowledge. And she really flew. One day she accompanied me to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. There was a special event on right to education or education. So she spoke about herself. And then she's challenged the whole world. Many presidents and prime ministers and kings and queens were sitting, and I was, a poor guy, was translating. And Devli said that, oh, bhai sahab ji, हमने तो ऐसे मोटे-मोटे और गोरे आदमी कभी देखे नहीं. I haven't seen these fatty people with white skin. And I had to translate. Then she said her story that after her freedom, she decided that she is going to give back what she has learned and what she has got here. She went back to her village with a conviction, with a resolve that no child would be left behind and every child would be brought to school. There was no school. Somehow Devli found a person who was high school pass. He agreed to teach other children. All children were somehow withdrawn from different kind of child labor and brought to schools. 36 children. And then she challenged there on the stage that you are so powerful people. I am a tribal girl who was born in intergenerational slavery. And with my resolve and with my conviction that I have to give back to my society, I decided that no child will be left behind. What about you guys? And I tell you that many of the presidents and prime ministers were in tears. The first one was then Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Gordon Brown. He came on the stage and hugged her in tears. And that was the day when some of the governments have jointly committed $400 million for the education of children in Africa and Latin American countries through the governments. That was the power of conviction. That was the power of truth. That, what does it mean? Why I was inspired? I said 3 stories. I was inspired with this story because that was the theoretical story, a spiritual story of a convocation, and this was the real translation of that, Devli's translation. The learning was, know thyself. अपने आप को पहचानिए, अपनी ताकत को पहचानिए. Know yourself. That is something which I am not preaching to you. I have learned that how Devli could taught us that everyone is born with tremendous power. Sometimes our dreams are very small, tiny. Sometimes our wishes are very small. Sometimes our hopes are very shrinked. So we don't explore the power within us. But Devli did not stop. She challenged the entire world. And she won. My second story is everybody, you should not feel that once you go back from here, the whole world would be a shining world. Definitely there would be better ways and better opportunities, but there are hardships in the life. So what I learned from my own experience that how to convert pain and anger into larger public good, into the larger transformation of society. We have been freeing children and trying to enroll them in schools. There is a place in northeast Delhi called Burari. So that was about, I think it was in late 90s. So it was very difficult to enroll them, young children coming from different backgrounds. So one day the headmaster was very angry with me and he said that you bring these dirty children, those who cannot speak properly, and these children are so filthy and their language is filthy. We are not going to enroll them. I started arguing, then he called his peon and everyone that just throw this man away. So they, just before they could have thrown me, I came out and I sat on a dharna. I said that I believe in Gandhi, I will sit here and I'm not going to leave before you enroll all these children, admit these children in class. He did not agree. Then I called one of my friends who was a lawyer. He said, Kailash ji, this is not good. Don't sit there because it is illegal. Police will come and take you. I said, what does it mean? He said, India does not have any legal provision. We don't have a law that gives right to education for our children. I said, then we should fight for a law. Then my lawyer said, this law is not enough. There is no constitutional provision. In India's constitution, education is not a fundamental right. And I tell you, my dear friends, when I was sitting there and struggling, humiliated, I was in deep pain and anguish. But I always learned that anger is a power, it's an energy. It should be converted into larger public good. So I decided that we are going to change the constitution. Everybody laughed at me. Somehow we were able to approach then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. We were able to approach then opposition leader Sonia Gandhi ji. I tell you, my dear friends, that me and my colleagues have knocked on every single parliamentarian's door, Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha both. It took several days, but every morning and evening we knock the door and request them with a piece of paper that our children want right to education and constitutional amendment. People are laughing at me, but we did not deter. We organized a long march from Kanyakumari to Kashmir to Delhi. We organized several events to build up the environment where ordinary people can demand right to education. And I tell you that my pain and anguish was converted into real result when within a year, India's parliament amended the constitution and made education a fundamental right. And if you allow, I will share the last thing. Would you? In 1-2 minutes? Yeah. And the last thing is that so what I learned, your pain and your anger has enormous energy if it is not destructive. It is not driven by hatred and hopelessness and helplessness. That energy should be converted into answers. And the final thing is, I learned that I should not lose my best friend. Who is my best friend? My best friend is my own self-confidence. My self-confidence is my best friend. If you lose self-confidence, you lose everything. So, never lose self-confidence. When we started freeing the children the very first day, a man named Wasal Khan knocked on my door in Delhi in 1980-81. His daughter was about to be sold to a brothel. I decided that I have to go and rescue her. Somehow I collected some friends and reached there. That was in Punjab, near a place called Sarhind. They were working at a brick kiln and the girl was born and grew up there, and the brothel agents were coming to negotiate the price. Somehow she was not sold. 15-year-old Sabo. We were beaten up and thrown away from there. But that day I realized that we should not lose the self-confidence. I came back and met some lawyer friends. They told that there is a provision in the law that is habeas corpus. We reached the High Court, and within a month, not only the habeas corpus was admitted, but we were able to liberate 36 children and men and women including this beautiful daughter, Sabo. That was the day I started having the dream that we can end child labor in a lifetime. We can end exploitation of children because slavery and civilization cannot coexist. No culture, no constitution can allow slavery to continue, and if the children are the victims of slavery, that is unacceptable. Never lose your best friend. I decided with a big dream to create a worldwide movement, the Global March Against Child Labor, and we organized a march across 103 countries in 1998. 80,000 kilometers march, which is double than the periphery of the earth, and demanded an international law against child slavery. And I tell you, within a year, we won again, and the United Nations has unanimously adopted this law called ILO Convention on the Worst Forms of Child Labor. Nothing is impossible, dear friends. Today we are going with a new resolve, with a new self-confidence, with a set of new ideas. Each one of you is a brick in making New India. New India cannot be built with mortars and cement and other bricks, steel and so on. New India resides inside your heart. When you come out and flourish and follow your heart, you would be the builder of New India, dear friends. I once again wish you a great success in your life. I am sure that you will make us proud. Shiv Nadar University would be a university. I wish that one day we will be celebrating a homegrown Nobel Laureate in this hall. And I promise you, Roshni ji, I will come. So, we don't have many years. We don't have 50 years to do so. We have to do it soon. Are you ready to do something like that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Can you have that big dream? And finally, I would, since I don't want to be too formal, I'm not carrying a piece of paper. But when I was giving my acceptance speech in Oslo on the dais of Nobel Peace Prize, I lost my papers because we all are supposed to give anything in written. So we had a written speech, but I'm not used to it because I feel that I will follow my heart, my mind will follow me. So when I lost papers, a story came to my mind, which I read in the childhood. There was a heavy fire broken out in jungle. All animals and birds were rushing for a safer place, including King Lion. Lion noticed there was a tiny hummingbird flying straight towards the fire. And he shouted, "What are you doing?" He said, "I am going to extinguish this fire because I was born and grew up there." Surprisingly he asked, more surprisingly, "How come you are committing suicide?" She said, "No, sir. Look at my beak. I am carrying a drop of water. I am doing my bit." She said, "I am doing my bit." You are going with much more power from here, dear friends. Do your bit. There is a tiny hummingbird inside you. I am so pleased and honored to be with Professor Ranjit Singh. Professor Doshi is not here, but I would also join all of you in congratulating these legends. And once again, thankful to Bhai Shiv Nadar ji, Kiran ji, Roshni ji, Shikhar ji, Ananya ji, and all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.